Welcome back, ET1138 here, and I'm doing another Friday night pickup video. A few weeks ago, I picked up a sealed Donkey Kong Game Boy game for $3. I sold it, and I made a lot more than $3 off of it. I took half of that money and used it to pay off some real life stuff, and then the other half I've used to buy the stuff that you saw in last week's pickup video, and the stuff that you're going to see on this week's pickup video, and probably some stuff that you'll see next week, too. So, I don't know. It's bought a lot of stuff. One little $3 game has bought me a ton of stuff for my collection and paid off some real life stuff. So, anyway, we are going to start with something that is non-game related. It is a gift from a friend of mine, Cortland. It's a board game called Dark World, and it is really cool looking. Yeah, you can see that there. You sort of set everything up, and then you multiple players, and it looks almost like a role-playing board game. The only thing that was a little bit disappointing is, as you can see here, the thrift store that he bought it at had taped it up several times, and people must have kept ripping it open. I pulled off remnants of probably 4 different tape jobs off of this, and the ones that are torn were not the ones that I did. Those are the ones where people had ripped it off previous so they could look in the box to see if everything was there. As far as I can tell, everything is there except the instructions, so I'll have to look those up. Now, on to video game related stuff. I picked up a 5200 game in the box. Now, I already have Kangaroo, but I don't have any boxed 5200 games, so I'm going to keep this one, and then I'll end up selling my extra Kangaroo along with some other extra games that I have for the 5200. I have to have a 5200 game in the box. Well, okay, I don't have to, but I wanted to have it. And it was only $2, so yeah, it's mine now. Next, I picked up some PlayStation games. These were at a Goodwill in Medina, Ohio, I believe. Really cool looking Goodwill. It's almost set up to look like a, I don't know, waterfront. No, I don't know. It's really weird looking. But I was walking through, and one of the carts that they had just pushed out from the back, on the bottom, I saw the PlayStation logo and got 3 long box games. The first one is Ridge Racer, Kingsfield, and Road Rash. All 3 are also complete. They all have the game and the manual, and the games are all in good shape. Now, Kingsfield and Ridge Racer are doubles that I will probably end up selling off, or selling off with the system that I'm going to sell. I haven't decided yet. A few Nintendo related items. I picked up for the Game Boy Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Follow the Foot Clan. I then picked up, that was from a, you know, I keep telling you where all this stuff is from. You don't know where any of these places are. You don't care, but that one was an indoor flea market. And then a couple of these I picked up from a Goodwill right down the road here. I picked up a couple of N64 games, Mickey Speedway USA, and Star Soldier Vanishing Earth, which is a shoot-'em-up that will go in my collection, and I'm very happy to find another shoot-'em-up. There aren't many for the N64 from what I can tell. However, there are a bunch for the Super Nintendo, and Hyperzone by HAL is one of them. Then I also found Romance of the Three Kingdoms for the NES. I got a bunch of Sega-related stuff here, too. I got a few Game Gear games, Streets of Rage 2, Alien 3, and Super Return of the Jedi. These were all $1 a piece from a local video game store called The Exchange. I don't know why they were only $1 a piece, but they were, so they're now here. This was, you know what, I'm not going to tell you where all this stuff was at, because it all came from a bunch of different places, and it's going to be very confusing, and it doesn't matter how much I paid, because, well, you just don't care how much I paid. But I got a complete-in-the-box copy of Virtua Fighter 32X. I will tell you that this one cost me $5, which is the same price I paid for the loose Virtua Fighter for the 32X. So, yeah, I'll be keeping this one and selling a loose one. Or if anybody wants it, let me know. Maybe we can work something out. Then I picked up a bunch of Genesis titles, and like I said, I'm not going to bother showing you where these are all at, but these two were $1. They're sports titles that I will end up swiping and reusing the cases. Don't worry, I don't throw away the inserts. I actually save the inserts. I've got a stack of inserts hiding around here somewhere. I figure one day I'll bump into somebody that maybe needs an insert for a game, and they can have that one. Pack Attack. Shinobi 3, which I already actually have Shinobi 3 and the manual by mistake, but I didn't have the case. This one was $2, and I needed the game itself, because I previously bought what I thought was Shinobi 3, but then inside was Shadow Dancer, Revenge of Shinobi, and I didn't have the game. Now, I've been looking for a copy of this game for a long time, and I keep finding it, but it's always like $5. I found a complete in-box copy for $2. I got Mega Turrican, which looks like a fantastic run-and-gun platformer. Never played any of the Turrican games, but I can't wait to try this one out. It is complete in the box and looks fantastic. Now, I also found, for a ridiculously low price, a complete in-box copy of Phantasy Star 2. Now, I already have Phantasy Star 2 up here somewhere. Where is it at? Of course it's not going to come out of there now. I already have Phantasy Star 2. I ended up getting a loose copy of Phantasy Star 2 for, I think it was $2.50 after the discounts. And I brought it home and I printed up my own cover and I put it in an extra case. I thought I did a pretty good job. The color's a little off, but not too bad. However, for what I paid for this, I'm going to keep this, and somebody will get this. I'm going to save this last Genesis game, and I'll show you some of the other stuff here first. I picked up some Sega Saturn stuff. Again, another sports title, but it was a $1 Sega Saturn game. I will probably end up reusing this case for one of the loose Saturn games that I have laying around. Sonic 3D Blast. I will not be reusing this case. I'll actually be keeping this. Now, I've got this on the Genesis. It'll be interesting to see how the Saturn version compares with the Genesis. So I want to see how much of an improvement there is. I got MechWarrior 2 for the Sega Saturn. And all three of these, the sports game was $1. The Sonic 3D Blast and MechWarrior 2 were $2. Crazy. Now, I have here a small stack of Sega Dreamcast games. As I've told you guys before, I'm probably never going to get my collection back from my nephew, so I'm just rebuilding from the start. And these were all very, very cheap, so I bought them all. I got Sega Smash Pack, Volume 1. Tokyo Extreme Racer. Now, a little bit about racing games. A lot of people say you always bag on sports games, but you claim that you like racing games. They're a little different to me. Actually, racing games, the way I look at them, I think the reason they appeal to me is because they're like vertical scrolling shooters without the shooting. Except Mario Kart, where you can shoot, which also happens to be my favorite racing game. But if you think about it, really, when you're playing a first-person perspective, or even one of the three-quarter perspectives in these games, it's kind of like a scrolling vertical shooter. And I think that's why they appeal to me. I like racing games. Sorry, got a little off topic there. Demolition Racer. This one looks interesting. Toy Commander. Rainbow Six. Spec Ops 2 Omega Squad. Wild Metal, which is apparently a game where you just drive around in the futuristic tank blowing stuff up. Star Lancer. Now, this one I have not had a chance to play or take a look at it, but it looks pretty cool. It's another one of those fly around and shoot at things games, which who doesn't love flying around and shooting at things? Alright, we got Blue Stinger, which I've heard is a not-so-great game. I have not yet tried it. We'll find out. I'll let you know how not so great it is. Now, this last one, I actually know where I got this one because I was talking with somebody on Facebook and speaking with another person via email at the same time when I got it. So they both know that I have it. I was at the Hoodwill in Maple Heights, Ohio, which I've previously referred to as the Scary Ghetto Thrift Store. But anyway, I was walking around in there, didn't expect to find anything. Went back to where they have their CDs, and I found several games in there before, where they keep the CDs and the DVDs, but there's never actually any discs in it, or it'll only have one disc. So when I saw Alone in the Dark, I expected to open it up and not see any discs, but sure enough, I opened it up. It's got the manual and both discs. The only bad thing about it was it had some pretty severe water damage in the front. Now I've checked and it doesn't look like it hurt the discs at all, but if you look at the manual, you can see that it's a little bit wrinkled. I've already opened it up. The pages don't stick together or anything. It's just kind of wrinkly. The front cover, though, was totally rotten and brittle, so I had to print up my own generic one offline. The back cover, though, does not look bad. It was just in the front, so I don't know, it looked like somebody spilled something on it maybe. But it cleaned up, and the printed cover will work just fine. So for the Genesis game that I skipped earlier, I found it at a resale shop, a place that sells music CDs, DVDs, videotapes, video games, all that sort of thing. And I've been in this store probably 100 times before. And they have had, as long as I've been going in there, a copy of a Genesis game in the cardboard box that is just all beat up, and they're asking a crazy sum of money for it. So I was very surprised when I went in the other day and saw a second copy there. This time in a plastic clamshell case, and it was complete, and it was less than a third, well, it was about a third of what they were selling the beat up, cardboard box version for. And less than a third of what you could find it for online. So even though I don't like spending more than $1 or $2 for a video game, I couldn't pass this one up. It was one of those things where if I would have walked out, I would have been very disappointed in myself later. So, Castlevania Bloodlines. This is a game that I've wanted for a really long time. I love the Castlevania series. I've got all the Castlevania games for the NES. I'm going to try and find them for the Super Nintendo, but like I said, I don't like spending a lot of money on games. And I won't spend more than, 50% of its actual value on it, because I'm just a cheapskate. This one, I spent less than 30% of the actual value, and that makes me very happy. It is in pretty good shape. The manual's got a couple little creases in it, but overall is in good shape. The card's clean. The box is pretty clean. It's just missing a little flippy doodad up top here, but I could replace that if I really wanted to. I don't care. Yeah, very, very cool. Very happy to find this in there. Can't wait to play it. I've never had this one before. So now all I have to do is find the Super Nintendo version. Hopefully I can find it for cheap at a flea market this year. Yeah, those, I believe, are all my pickups. Did I pick anything else up? I don't think I did. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll talk to you later if I can figure out how to turn off my webcam.